Welcome students, chapter number 4, Landscape of the Soul by Nathalie Trevorroy. As is the title of the chapter, Landscape of the Soul, you must have understood that it is something about paintings. Because it's a painter who sees the landscape and according to his or her vision draws the landscape. There are two methods. Either the painter draws the landscape according to what he or she sees, or the painter just understands the landscape and makes it according to him or her. And that is the basic difference between paintings. So if you see the first painter who has drawn the painting as it is, he or she has merely copied down the painting. But the second painter has understood and then, according to his or her vision, has drawn the complete landscape. And there is where you find the difference between Chinese paintings and European paintings. And this chapter is basically talking about Chinese paintings, including Asian paintings, and all the other paintings, including India also. All these paintings, they have a depth, and that depth is shown with the help of certain stories and certain examples. We'll refer to the title afterwards when we complete the chapter and we understand the concept behind the chapter. But first of all, let us begin the chapter by understanding the difference between Chinese and European paintings. The first thing is a story which is of a Tang emperor Xuanzong. This emperor was going to build a new palace and he wanted that certain paintings should be made on the palace walls. He asked the painter Wu Daozi, who was a very famous painter. He said that you decorate this particular wall on this palace and I want in this particular palace and I want that it should be very good. Wu Daozi started to make the painting. Every day the emperor came and examined the painting. Nobody except the emperor could see the painting because it was hidden behind a curtain. The emperor every day saw the painting and every day he used to appreciate its outer appearance. Wu Daozi somewhere felt that the emperor was not able to understand the meaning of the painting. One day he said, "Sir, let me show you the way." In the whole painting, there was a cave. And he said, "Sir, let me show you the way." He clapped his hands and the entrance to the cave opened. The painter entered inside and he said, "Sir, the inside also is very splendid. You can come and see." He entered. The entrance to the cave closed and Wu Daozi, he vanished. After few minutes, the emperor saw the painting also vanished. What is the meaning that comes out of this story? The meaning that is that the painter had made certain depth, or he had a depth inside the painting which the emperor could not see from outside, and he entered his own painting and vanished. That shows that all Chinese paintings have a depth which is made by the painter, which everybody needs to understand. That's why you must have seen that some paintings are sold at a very high price. The reason is somebody has understood the meaning of those paintings. Now here it shows that all Chinese paintings have a depth. One more story that is there of Chinese paintings only. There was a painter, and this painter, he was drawing a dragon's picture, and everybody asked, "Why haven't you drawn the eye of the dragon?" He said that if I draw the eye of the dragon will come alive and it will fly off. That means he believed that his painting is real and it has that depth inside. If I draw the eye of the dragon will fly away. This also shows that Chinese paintings have a depth. So two stories are there for Chinese paintings. Let us see that story which is there for European paintings. There was a blacksmith. Blacksmith, you know, who works with iron and all. This blacksmith's name was Quintin Mitzis. Quintin fell in love with a painter's daughter. So he went to the painter and he said that, "I want to marry your daughter." The painter refused straight away. He said, "I want that my daughter should marry somebody with the same profession as me. That is, I want my daughter to marry a painter only. You are a blacksmith." Next day, what happened? Quintin in the morning, he sneaked away, very secretly entered the painter's chamber. And after entering the chamber, every day the painter had a habit, every night he used to keep one panel, and on that panel he used to put the canvas so that in the morning he came with a fresh idea and he could make that painting. Quintin sneaked into that chamber and he drew a small fly on that new panel. He went away. The painter came in the morning. He saw that there was a fly on the painting, on that canvas, and he tried to swat it away. Then he understood that it was a painting. Quentin had drawn the painting of that fly with such likeness that it appeared as a real fly. And the painter required some time. He was a very famous painter and he required some time to understand that it was a painting. He immediately made Quentin his apprentice as the helper. And then Quentin became one of the famous painters in Europe. Now, what difference do you find between the first two stories and the next story? You'll find that in the first story, the painter, he made a painting which had a meaning, but which the emperor could not understand. But European paintings, they have an illusionistic likeness. That means they are an exact copy. They lack the depth. So what do you understand from these two stories is the difference between Chinese and European paintings, and this is the basis of the chapter. If you have seen here, I have written the difference over here between Chinese and European paintings. So the first difference that comes very clear is what? The first difference is that the Chinese paintings have life and they have depth, because the painter has understood and made it according to him or her. But in case of European paintings, they have an illusionistic likeness. That means what? That you will say, okay, I have seen this place somewhere, because it's a copy of something. So they have an illusionistic likeness. The second thing that is there, that if the painting has life and depth, then of course we understand that there is no specific angle. Like if I keep this object here and if I draw a painting of this object, I'll draw the painting according to what I am seeing the object as from here. The other person might be seeing the same object from another angle. That person will draw this object according to that angle. If I see the two paintings, I'll say these are two different paintings of the same object. That is there in European paintings because they are making an exact copy. But in case of Chinese paintings, you will see there is no specific angle. You can enter the painting from anywhere and you can come out. Now, if I say this, you can enter the painting and you can come out. Does the painter make a way for you to, or a place for you to enter? The way to travel and a place to come out? Yes. That means you can enter the painting, you can understand its meaning and you can come out of it. This is what is there in a Chinese painting, but this is not there in a European painting. So in case of a Chinese painting, there is no specific angle, but in case of a European painting, you will find a specific angle. So you can see the second point over here. The third thing, in case of a Chinese painting, if it has depth, the artist creates a path for you. No such path is there in case of a European painting because you understand the painting as a whole. There is no particular place for you to enter. So we can see the third difference that is here. Now the next thing. If we go inside the painting and we travel inside a painting, that means there is a dimension of time added. Yes, we enter the painting, we travel inside, we come out, dimension of time is there. If you remember, we have in India a local art of a Phad painting. In that, two people stand with a scroll and one person stands there with a candle and they hold the paper, the whole scroll is there. The person folds it from here, the scroll opens, person explains it. Then they fold it, another part comes, then they explain it. So is the dimension of time added? Yes. The same is the case with Indian paintings, the same is the case with Chinese paintings. Chinese and Indian paintings are more or less the same. They are paintings of Asia. But this sort of dimension of time is not there in case of European paintings. Reason? It is understood as a whole. No part to enter, no part to come out. So there is no dimension of time. So you can see here, this is the fourth point that is there. Now the next thing. If I see a painting, a physical involvement is there. Physical participation is there. But if I understand the painting, there is a physical as well as mental participation. So in which painting it will be there? Chinese paintings, because I am understanding. If I understand, there is active mental and physical participation, and in case of a European painting, there is only a physical participation because I am seeing the painting from one angle. Then you can see here, this point is written. Then the next thing, in case of a Chinese painting, you will find that there are empty spaces. If you will see, if there is a particular hill drawn here, you will find that there will be empty space here, then there will be some birds drawn here. So there are empty spaces in between. In case of European paintings, this empty space is not there. So in my next session, I am going to discuss something about these empty spaces and what is that concept behind these empty spaces also. But till now, whatever we have discussed in this chapter is the story related to Chinese painting, the two stories that are there, the dragon and the emperor, and European paintings about Quentin Metsys. And then we understood the difference between Chinese and European paintings. If you understand, the basic difference is one, that Chinese paintings have a depth and European paintings have an illusionistic likeness. That doesn't mean that European paintings are easy. No, they are not, because you are making an exact copy. Paintings, it is not so that Chinese paintings is easy because Chinese paintings are easy because you have seen them, you have understood them, and then you make them. But it is not so in the case of European paintings. They are also tough because you are making an exact copy, and to make an exact copy also is tough. So we are in this chapter, it's not so that the author is favoring one side of the painting. He is just giving us both the aspects of the paintings, and he's telling us that these two paintings have a basic difference or have few differences, and these differences are shown here. The next session we'll discuss about the concept that is here, and plus we'll discuss about something about Nek Chand's rock garden in Chandigarh. So that is something about an outsider art. So the next two concepts we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you.